Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring you the greatest show you're watching right now. It's the Richie and Hazz Show. I'm Brent Hazard, Richard Schwartz, still have Stephen Nixon, yes. Gerald Crawford. We're continuing with our in-depth campaign coverage. Now, let me ask you this. We've does anybody strike that? Should Donald Trump do in his last 60 days? Richie,
that's an interesting question.
I predict. Always going to say that every time.
I predict he's going to pardon himself. He's going to be a lot of pardons.
Why would you not pardon yourself?
I don't know if he can do it, but he loves litigation, so that's going to be a litigated issue going to the Supreme Court.
Wait a minute. Would you pardon yourself?
Absolutely.
Would you pardon yourself?
Yes.
Would you pardon yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Because there's some political hatred.
Well, can you pardon yourself from a state action?
Now that has never been adjudicated.
Yeah, and that's going to be a litigation issue. He loves this stuff.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, who do you pardon? You pardon yourself, your children,
yes,
your people, Manafort.
Yeah, he may go ahead and pardon Mike Flynn.
I pardon everybody. Mike Flynn.
I think he's going to pardon.
He's
going to pardon the woman that got the young girls in the island because there's obviously a connection from her to Trump.
Oh, would he pardon just like Maxwell?
Yeah, Maxwell.
But can you pardon yourself when there's no crime?
That's what I was saying.
Yes, you can, because I looked it up. Presidential pardons don't have to have.
Wait a minute. You looked something up?
I did.
Did you have a copy of the World Books?
I did.
Okay.
I used to grow up on those.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
They had pardons.
So tell me.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me what the World Book said. Okay, wait. Encyclopedia at your house, yes or no?
No.
Encyclopedia?
Oh, yeah.
What?
We had, growing up, we had the Funk and Wagnalls.
Growing up, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
World Book.
Now.
I
had the World Book. What did you have?
We had Funk and Wagnalls.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, well.
What did you have?
I think we had Britannica.
Okay. Go ahead. You would pardon yourself. You did some research.
Yeah, the presidential pardon is you don't have to be accused of anything. You don't have. It's all wide open.
I'd do it tomorrow.
Why? He don't have to do it tomorrow. He can do it anytime.
I do it tomorrow, though.
He hasn't conceded the election yet.
I still do it tomorrow.
Okay.
But explain the dynamic of how you can pardon yourself on, like when he pardoned Flynn, he's pardoning Flynn for the whatever he was charged for. You don't know what he can be charged for.
I would do a shotgun.
Yeah.
In case I did this. In case I did this. In case I did that.
All Russian activities, all collusion.
Oh, so he could do
taxes.
I would get as much research as I could.
Yeah.
Here's the question: do you pardon Cohen?
Yeah.
Michael Cohen?
Yeah.
I don't think he will because Cohen turned on him, and that's one of Trump's things.
Legally speaking, you're stopping them using something against Cohen to flip him on you in future.
I don't know. Maybe he will. Who knows?
Yeah, I would. So there's some enemies that I would in bed with you.
He'll definitely pardon Roger Stone.
Oh yes,
all of those guys that were right. Flynn, Stone, Carter.
Who else? Anybody who'll pay $1 million, she'll probably pardon them.
but you know
that's
what?
Illegal.
I'm going to tell you the interesting
He can pardon himself for taking a bribe on a party.
The interesting dynamic about him doing that would be, for the simple fact, I believe this guy would seriously consider running in 2024.
Oh, he's going to run.
I don't think so. I'll tell you this.
That's what everybody's talking about right now. I honestly don't know. I think he is going to be better off.
But if he
off being a pitch man than actually being the candidate.
He's going to have his own TV network.
Okay, well, first of all,
I think he wants to go make some money.
He's not going to step aside for anybody. So what's going to happen is the economy is going to get better because the virus is going to start going away through the vaccine, and the 1918 virus lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
So historically, we'll be coming out this spring. Mm-hmm. There'll be some vaccine.
The economy will get better until they pass their first budget with additional taxes, and then it's going to go.
Well, then we haven't passed.
And then it's going to slow down.
How long? 50
The other thing is his wife going to stay married to him when he leaves the White House? I think that she'll be gone.
Oh, you think
that's an open marriage? They don't care.
I think she's gone.
I don't think she cares.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's not like
if she cared, she probably would have been gone by now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
She cut a deal. I mean, and look, half the marriages we know have a deal.
Yeah.
You know, okay, wait a minute. So you part. What executive orders do you issue?
Ooh.
Whichever ones you want to.
Okay, but
because we talked about this a show or two ago about how this is where I think the Democrats or the liberal side made a mistake in giving so much deference to President Obama's executive orders. There's now judicial precedent that lets Trump do way more with executive orders than anybody's going to want to let him do.
In the DACA
and then
case,
Biden is going to have a hard time getting those overturned because of precedent.
Even if it's illegal or you don't have the authority to write an executive order, the Supreme Court then says the burden shifts to the next administration.
That's right.
To prove why it should be rescinded and why there's a property right
involved.
involved.
And Trump's got the Supreme Court in his favor.
Yeah. Oh no! Look, I do an executive order on insurance. I do an executive order
on insurance,
on health insurance. They
and he needs to do some on
have a plan. I implement my plan by executive order.
Yeah. What about
in immigration
he didn't have
too?
A plan.
That's what I'm saying.
He turned over a plan to that one he walked away with in 60 Minutes. It was a huge plan about insurance. They wouldn't anything about insurance.
But what I'm saying is to avoid this criticism, the next time I run, I sign like the longest.
So you
Exhibit
agree
A.
that he's going to run then?
Oh, he's running. He's winning in 4 years.
You think?
Yes, because
I think he's running.
Biden. I don't think Biden. Look, do I think Biden has dementia? No. Do I think he has senior moments? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Trump doesn't.
No, I've never seen. Well, one, and I just did it last show. The piece of spit flew. When you're talking off the top of your head, it's draining. It's emotionally draining. But when you're doing you're 65, okay?
64, not yet.
How old are you, sir?
I am 46.
Yes.
43.
I'm 47. I tried to pull an all-nighter a couple weeks ago for a case.
What was your name?
Did it involve a dungeon and being hung upside down? Okay, let's not go back to that.
It was this one time.
I mean, it's okay. Y'all can throw stones. I don't hear anybody's personal life coming out. I mean, we can go there.
This one time, there was this girl named Stacy. She treated me.
First of all, I've told that story 100 times. Because my ass was a dumbass who got robbed by a stripper. But, I mean, it happens.
Everybody gets
Everybody
robbed.
goes through that.
Everybody gets robbed by the strippers, whether you hand her the money or she just takes it.
Exactly.
You're getting robbed.
Yeah.
So wait a minute.
But anyway,
She hung you upside down.
It was a
And
prank.
your wallet dropped
No,
down.
she got the
Did
wallet.
Did the
She
wallet
said,
go
"Let me-"
like this?
No, she said, "I'll hold on to your phone and your wallet." I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
And then she. You have to see the last show.
And
see
she had bye.
She walked out. And I was thinking, so what do we do now? And then at 10 minutes, and of course, this is back when I was working out every day.
You were hanging upside down for 10 minutes.
You start, I could do a Roman sit-up back then. Y'all know what Roman sit-ups are?
Yeah.
So I climbed up there and started yanking shit. But then you're like, I'm really about to,
pass out.
Yeah. No. I was hanging by one arm trying to undo it, and I undid it and came down, or loosened the bolts or something, and dropped down. And next thing you know, I'm dragging this chain to this strip club. My friend's like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "You see that brunette around here?" And the bouncers came up and go, "You need to leave." I said, "Bruh, we can have police all up in here. I ain't leaving without my wallet."
Did you get it back?
Yes, I got it back.
What did she say?
I never saw her. The bouncers. Man, I got a hat. It's okay. It ain't the first time.
She didn't show back up and try to make an excuse or anything, or.
No, Stephen.
I was just in the other room. I was waiting for you to.
Ladies and gentlemen, just because they have angelic faces don't mean they're angels. I've learned that. And I'm sure she was trying to run the card or something. But I mean, one, I was really, really broke.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
I was in law school. But two, back to the transition of the administration.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
All-nighters.
Something to do with all-nighters.
No, but what I'm saying is you can see, I mean, Trump has some stumbling when he speaks. But, I mean, to me, you can't say Biden has dementia and go through 2 debates. He would have had, my grandmother had dementia. Trust me, 2 hour-and-a-half debates, my grandmother couldn't make it through. Now, do I think he's at 78 years old, average life expectancy, even though they have great medical treatment? I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if Trump will be mentally and physically. I mean, Trump's 60 pounds overweight.
But, that's really being generous.
Well, but what I'm saying is, but if he can run, I don't see him have any. He doesn't want to hand the baton off to someone.
Yeah, and I see what you mean there. I mean, and also knowing his personality. I think if he's physically and okay and everything, he probably will.
And I think, constitutionally, he would be limited to one term if he was to win 2024.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. He's got 65 million people who voted for him.
70 million. 71
No, I'm talking about for Trump.
That's for Trump.
Trump got 70
Trump
million?
has got the second most amount of votes in the history of this country.
When he starts Trump TV, that's 70 million people who are going to watch that.
I don't know that I would run again if I was him. I would be a pitch man. I would make as much money as I could off of that and not run again.
He ran because Obama made fun of him at the press correspondence dinner. This man does not handle insults well.
Yeah.
So this is good.
I think he was sizing Obama up at that press correspondent dinner. I think he was seriously going to run until Obama savaged him at that thing.
That was the reason he ran. I mean, that was Obama's second term. And but that's why Trump's whole life is to show his verbally abusive dad that he is something. In my opinion, he's a narcissist. This is a layman's opinion because of growing up with an alcoholic, workaholic father who just verbally probably abused him every day. You're not get drunk. You're not a damn thing. You're never going to do anything. I'm going to show you, Dad. And he's been shown. I mean, think about it. Who else has their name on everything? And it's one of those deals.
Of course, he got a head start. He inherited $500 million.
Okay, but even then, there's rich people who can't. There's rich people who can't.
Yeah,
get
I don't think he
elected.
inherited quite that much. But
how much is the Bushes elected? I heard he inherited $50 million of debt-free Manhattan property in '78.
Yeah, so it appreciated in value.
Well, today, and there's arguments that if he wouldn't have done anything, is that it'd be worth more than he's worth now. But I mean, at the end of the day, he walked in as the 17th favored Republican nominee as a joke, and he was sitting in the White House.
Yeah. And
he's leaving with the second most one term and the second most votes in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, back to what I'm saying. I do an executive order on immigration.
Yeah, I was going to say immigration because Obama, the specific executive orders that the courts said, I mean, I couldn't believe that ruling, by the way, but the court said that you're the president now. You can't undo a prior president's executive orders. And those were on immigration. If you're Trump, do those executive orders and then cite the very case that they used against you next time. That was a mistake. I think.
Do them on defense. I do them on moving troops home.
Yep.
I do them on every issue that I want.
You can do it on trade, in China.
On every issue that I want, tariffs, every issue that I'm going to run on next time, I do one on.
I would like to see the style of that case. That's kind of interesting.
It's the Dreamers case. It's the Docker case.
They
said they had to use it. They had to once he signed it. You had to go through the administrative the APA.
The Administrative Procedures Act, and that puts a burden of proof on you as the current president before you can undo a prior president's executive order.
That's illegal.
It is crazy.
Well, can he make another executive order that overcomes that executive order?
Not without going through the APA, but all the virgin territory.
Yeah, but right now he has a federal case, and this is why it was such a mistake. He has a federal case that says Biden is going to have to go through all of this, is going to have a burden of proof to undo Trump's executive order.
Well, why would he even do that? He can make another executive order that's completely counter to the one that was that.
Now you can't do that. That was the lawsuit was about. He has to do stuff. Because you have to go prove that you're not eliminating due process and these people weren't given a property rights. My understanding. I've not read it before the case. But yes, you've got to go through the APA.
Yeah, but Joe, you ought to check that out, Joe. It was one of those rulings where it was viewed as a victory at the time by the left, by Democrats. But I was sitting there going, they said what? And so Trump's team, to their credit, said, wait, is that how it's going to be?
Okay.
Get your pen ready because we're going to pass some more of these, and good luck overturning them because you're going to cite to that same case.
Okay.
I need to read that one.
So now Biden's not going to be able to just say, I'm president now. Those executive orders are ended. You can't do it.
Since we're talking about legal, do y'all see any of his legal challenges working?
No. And we were talking about this. Steve and I was talking about this. The amount of cases that individual cases for each individual vote that he would have to prove fraud from is astronomical. I don't think I can't see it going in his favor. I mean, I saw a press conference with Giuliani, and Giuliani was talking about the remedies that they would possibly seek. And I don't know if you saw that press conference.
I didn't.
But somewhere in there he mentioned that one possible probability is throwing out an entire election. I just see.
That's not going to happen.
Unless the Supreme Court rules that you can't have mail-in ballots.
I mean,
but they've been established for 100 years.
Yeah, even this Supreme Court is not going to invalidate. You're going to, and that's what we were saying. He's going to have to prove individual instances of fraud in enough numbers to matter. Now, look, in Georgia, when you're still talking about maybe less than 10,000 votes, he might be able to flip Georgia back, get some ballots thrown out, a recount, but.
It's an automatic recount in Georgia.
Yeah, but you think about Wisconsin. It's too many. It's 20,000. Something. It's too many. Right. Or in Pennsylvania, you are never going to be able to prove. I mean, just think of it. We're lawyers. We understand this. Think about physically proving 25,000 separate pieces of paper are fraudulent.
Right.
That would take an eternity.
Well, the problem
to do that.
with that is if you're going
even if he's right, and I don't know that he is, he's never going to be able to prove it.
But and that's what happened in Florida. People don't understand. If you start going through each one of those, then you're going to find some for you that's fraudulent.
That's right. It's
going to have to be a net gain.
Yeah.
And people also need to remember in Florida, we were talking about 500 votes, but Florida in 2000 really educated us. That's why we don't have any more Chads.
Yeah.
Because those were about, were these punched through? Was this indented? Was it a hanging Chad?
And in that one, that's a good example because after all that litigation, before Gore finally conceded, or the Supreme Court ruled how they did, I mean, they found 200 or 300 votes.
Yeah,
it was not enough to matter.
Gore won initially with 538 votes.
Right.
Bush challenged him, and after the recounts and the hanging Chad situation, they said that the state wanted to do the whole state, and
Gore wanted to only do specific counties or something.
No. The Gore and the Democrats wanted to do the whole state.
Okay.
The Republicans just wanted to do Broward County.
Right, because that one county was the difference.
And they did it, and then Scalia to criticism because it was always the state's rights.
Right.
And Scalia said it was an equal protection. I looked at this before the show.
Okay.
Equal protection right, because then it would question the validity of this. But after polls and independent studies, they said no matter which side they picked, Bush would have won.
Right.
So, but okay, how should Trump exit? Should he concede?
No, it's not his nature to concede. He's never going to. He's a fighter. One thing I will say, he's a fighter. The
question to you is, should he concede?
Yes.
Okay, but you're saying he's not. Should he concede?
Should. I mean, at this point, I think you're talking about 70 million people. I almost think he has a duty. Let the cases play out. If you lose in court, then you
can concede.
Then you say we tried, but we lost. I'm sorry,
and still preserve your legal rights.
Right.
But that's what I believe he'll do. I think people believe he's going to act like he's going to get like some petulant child, and they're going to drag him out. I don't think he's going to do that.
Well,
I think he's going to concede once all his avenues in the courts are struck down. I think he'll concede, and I think he should concede because he plausibly could run in 4 years and win it.
He needs to be careful how he goes out.
It's a moral obligation on the president that just got defeated to try to unify the country and work with the next president and do what you have to do to unify. We're so divided in this country. He needs to do his part to make America stronger.
Trump will respond to you this way. Y'all never gave me a chance to be a unifier. That's what Trump would say. Trump would say...
And I don't think he would be entirely wrong about that, to be honest
but
with you.
the truth be known, don't you think he needs to do that morally? The next president should transition over for a peaceful transition and try to unify. Most presidents say, well, I'm sorry I lost, but I support, and I'll be at the inauguration for the next president.
He's not going to that.
No, he's definitely not.
But no, let me tell you the right answer to this. Donald, I want you drunk with a bottle of Jack Daniels, shirt unbuttoned, cussing everybody out while you walk out. Brother, this is a story, your reality show, and I want the ending America deserves. Don't talk about...
Fired.
Don't talk. I want you cussing, because we all have alcoholics. My dad was an alcoholic. We all know alcoholics. We know how they're going to do. You're going to persecute everybody. I want my ending, Donald. Ric Flair wouldn't concede. He would cuss his kids out on live TV. I want you at the conference swigging. I want the hair not to be fully combed over.
Unshaved.
Unshaved. You pieces of crap. Y'all should have got me. I want my ending, Trump. You owe it to us to give us that. You don't have a moral. The man ain't been moral since he's been in the White House.
but I mean, it's for the good of the country.
Okay, let me get to that. First of all, Stephen, you say he hasn't been given a chance.
I don't think he has.
Okay, let me
He
ask you
hasn't.
to this.
99% of the coverage of him has been negative. He even when he does something good, it's negative.
Okay, first of all,
By the nightly news.
We've had this argument. I don't want to. You can watch the previous shows because he'll get me on a damn red herring or a tangent, and we're not doing that. But you will agree with me. The man spent like $50 million the first time, and every Republican GOP candidate was complaining about all the press he got that was positive early on.
Yes, and it's because the press made a calculated mistake. They wanted him to win because they thought that he stood the least chance
No,
of
it's
beating
ratings.
Hillary Clinton.
He is instant ratings. There's no, well, we're trying to manipulate this. But two, if I said everybody who closed real estates were sons of Satan, and you were lying bunches of blah blah, and next thing you know, you're getting death threats. Are you going to give me good coverage? Are you going to be speaking well of me? Because he's literally, for the first time, George W. Bush went to press correspondence dinner. Reagan had a great time with him.
He never went.
He never went because he is vilified. And what I'm saying,
I'm telling you,
are they harder was the press harder on George W. or Trump?
on Trump
Okay,
without
were they
a
harder
doubt.
on
It's not
Reagan?
even close.
I agree, because you keep on insulting someone, it's gonna become personal. You can't, and this is why I can't stand y'all. Y'all give him a pass. That's just Trump being Trump. No, the hell it's not.
No,
I mean, can someone just slap me because it's just a guy who slaps people?
I think the draw of Trump to the people who love him. And look, I voted against him. Let's be clear. Okay, I was in nervous.
Sure?
Oh, absolutely. I was in nervous nights the first night because I honestly thought he won. Yeah.
Why? Okay, stop. Why were you nervous? It's not. I mean, do you really think he has that much sway in our lives in Mississippi?
No, I thought he won re-election.
I understand that,
The
but I'm
first-
saying, what would have been the worst thing if he won re-election for Gerald Crawford?
I thought.
That's a good question. I like that.
Okay,
I ask good questions, Richie Jr. That's what I do.
All right. I believe that it would have been terrible for a guy to be rehired for a job when you believe his response to one of the most incredible crises, the pandemic that this country has ever faced, that if you feel like I did, that he has an overall F grade in the response, in the COVID response. I'm talking about, I hold him responsible because I lost somebody to the COVID. I hold him responsible for the response, the U.S. governmental response, and I don't believe that he should have been rehired for that. I never fell for the Me Too stuff about all the women and the accusations. I've never had that against him. And believe it or not, I don't even believe he's a racist. I don't believe that. But I believe that his COVID response is a fireable offense, and he got fired, and he deserved to be fired, if you ask me.
You know, one thing I want to talk about is the news media. You said they were all against Trump and all this stuff. Did you see, after the election, Fox News, straight from Murdoch, said, we're not going to call him the president-elect because it was a stolen election.
Well,
And that was the official ruling a Fox
But
network.
I saw that report.
There was a report.
And then I watched Fox News specifically, and they called him president-elect.
They was like, look, we understand this report, but we are calling him president.
I didn't see that, but I saw the news. Now, the opinion shows I didn't see it.
And Fox called Arizona when nobody else did.
Yeah, Fox News called Arizona.
New York, the AP.
Yeah, the
AP.
AP. Fox
my
called
whole
it
point
first,
is
and then the AP followed
media
it.
is slanted, okay, and some are worse than others. Some
Right.
are a lot worse than others. Like Fox is very.
The media treated him bad, man. Look,
He could, like we were talking about earlier, the
Fox
stuff that
didn't.
he's done that he did not get any credit for. Even when it was
Wait a minute,
good, they still called
Fox
it bad.
did everything they could to.
Yeah, but that's one network. That's one network
Okay,
on cable.
but here's the problem.
And all
But it's
10 of the
slanted.
others.
It was so
there's
slanted one way.
But
There's
here's
no
the problem.
newspaper
When you
in the
had-
country that
when-
anybody reads that's not
New
any
York
kind of.
Post ran to Hunter Biden and endorsed him. The oldest newspaper in New York, in the country, ran the Hunter Biden story.
What is the New York Post circulation in comparison to New York Times or Washington Post?
It ain't a small paper, and they endorsed him. And what I'm just saying,
Endorsed Trump.
yes.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, and I'm sure it was a part of a deal to get the the laptop. But here's my problem with that, Stephen. We're not dealing in 1980, and we've had this argument. I don't want to repeat it, but we're not dealing in 1980 when you have 3 channels. Joe Rogan is a huge Trump supporter.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he's a huge Trump supporter.
Oh, no. Joe Rogan has. I've listened to his show. He doesn't support Trump.
Joe Rogan.
He supported Bernie. He endorsed Bernie Sanders.
Just last run, but he has said repeatedly that Biden's getting a pass on his dementia.
Yeah, but he never said I therefore support Trump. He was critical of Biden because he felt like he was in cognitive decline, and I agree.
And he said that Trump was getting oppressed, and he was. Well, let me say this: his statements were like Trump by Trump so much that Trump put him on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't think Joe Rogan was a Trump supporter.
I've listened to the show.
I follow Joe Rogan, and I really don't recall him talking on the subject.
No, he said
he did not support Biden, but he did not support Trump.
He moved to Austin, Texas. 2, Trump, when he said you should let me host the debate, Trump supported, says I'm in.
Well, Trump retweeted when he was talking about Biden, and he made some sort of analogy.
But he was saying
but it was only critical of Biden. Trump was. I don't think Rogan was trying to endorse Trump by saying that.
Well, okay, so you're saying me that the number 1 podcast is critical of me, but doesn't say anything positive of Gerald. That's not going to have some sway.
He was highly critical of Trump. I mean, as well.
When?
All the time.
Just an example. Well, okay, we're not going down this rabbit hole, but what I'm saying is the reality is this victimization that the guy from New York for 40 years that was on Howard Stern, I still don't know why he was on David Letterman. I still don't know why he was on Howard Stern. And all of a sudden this media creature turned on him. He was on The Apprentice because he was a brand name. That, yes, once you get elected in that position, 50% of the people are going to hate you in today's world.
Right.
But, no, I don't see him being any more critical than they were of Reagan, being any more critical, and we've gone through this.
They were more.
I
think
Obama had a hell of a honeymoon.
Oh my God! And they never said anything bad about.
They said he wasn't born here.
They know they didn't. That is now one of the most tinfoil hat.
Oh
things.
my God! Fox News
birtherism. They weren't talking about that on ABC.
They said Fox News. I'm saying Fox News had people on there saying he was not born here.
Again, and that's what I'm coming back to. That's Fox News, and we know they have a conservative bent.
Okay, I'm saying
they don't try.
So okay, let's do it. Let's do it this way.
ABC News still claims to be objective.
Don't talk about Fox News and MSNBC or CNN because I think that the cable news have all staked out a point of view that they're.
That's right. They all have a bent. But my point is that the big 3 have that same bent.
Right now, there's an independent study that will say ABC and CBS are completely independent news. Because here's the deal, and look, you look at AP, you look at Reuters, you look at BBC, okay? They just don't, The Economist. What I'm saying is they're critical of Trump because Trump is a leader of the country tweeting crazy crap. At some point, he deserves some of it. But and we've had this argument 100 times. You give him, that's just him tweeting. That's not how it works.
Wait a minute. They caught him in so many lies. Why wouldn't you be critical
Did
of
they
him?
catch him in the lies?
Oh, over and over.
I'm just
and
saying
over.
he just changes his position
Well,
constantly.
But he lies all the time.
So, but like Joe Biden had been caught in lies.
Once again, I'm not giving. It's not an either or situation.
I mean,
But
everybody's
not
caught in
over
lies.
and over.
Of course,
and
over and over
But-
again.
but-
Yes.
Over.
But here's my problem.
Biden,
You
Biden
can't
and
tell
Clinton and all
me-
the rest of them, they lie over and over and over again. The media treated them differently.
I don't think
Because
anybody.
they don't dog cuss the media.
I don't believe anyone has lied publicly as much as Trump has.
Well,
Any
here's
president.
the bottom line. Show me another person. Show me another candidate where the media's sitting over there filming you and they have to have their own protection because the idiot on the stage is saying, well, fake news. I mean, the bottom line is if I keep on saying people from Mississippi State are stupid, when I go into Starkville, someone's going to throw something
anytime
at
they
me.
ask him a real tough question, he'd say, "That's a stupid question.
I'm gonna tell
You're
you what
fake
I
news."
believe the root evil. Quite honestly, he just hit the nail on it. The root evil that started his true divorce from the media was in his initial campaign rallies where he did used to encourage violence. If you go over there and you punch somebody, you send me the bill or your attorney fees or whatever, and I believe that started a divorce between him and the media that it never healed, or a fracture that never healed, and it was always bumping heads from that point.
But I don't think that fracture was new. George W. Bush was kind to the media, and they still just vilified him for no good reason.
Okay, first of all,
like he was dumb and saying all the time.
Okay, first of all,
but he took the high road with the media, and it did him no good. He didn't earn any points with the media.
First of all,
so Trump finally said,
they love him now,
and Trump finally, and now they love him because he's not in power. But
Right.
And so when Trump says, "No, I saw how this game went," so no, I'm gonna hit back.
I'm a counterpunch.
But first of all,
he's a counterpuncher.
But he literally, and we're going down the road, George W. Bush, after 9/11, was the highest ranked, most popular president in modern history. Okay? He wasn't getting any bad press. His bad press was going into Iraq, and his bad press was missing the housing crisis.
And then on top of that, after 9/11, they actually said he's pretty much off limits. If we just want to go back to George W. Bush, what hurt him was no weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say people really felt like they were misled into a war.
He wanted to fix Dad's issue to prove to Dad, I'm better or as good as you. It's another daddy
I
issue.
think it's more than that. I think they wanted the oil, and he was in cahoots with companies to make sure they get the oil
I think
company.
he was trying to be great, and I think in that position, you just have to wait. The opportunity's coming. The crisis is coming.
I'm not sure he made that decision. I think the vice president made that decision.
Well, he deferred a lot to Cheney.
Yeah,
Is there
I think
anybody here
Cheney
to say
made that
Cheney
war.
wasn't the
I don't
most
think Bush had the
powerful
ability
VP?
to do
Oh,
that.
he
But
had
you
the
know
ability.
that
He just
was
didn't want it.
actually one of the most beautiful thing about George W. Bush to me was officially in his last year, he unofficially fired Cheney. I mean, he really stopped listening to him.
Yeah.
Cheney couldn't even get an audience with him anymore. But I mean, look, I think it's a fool's errand to argue that Trump hasn't been treated harshly by the press.
He really
I mean,
has. And I will admit,
I agree.
He is his own worst enemy. I
agree
concede.
with
Okay,
that.
I'm not trying to defend.
You literally are.
No. I'm not trying to defend the content of certain tweets. I'm not going to look at a tweet that he shouldn't have sent out and go, well, what he really meant to say was no. I'm just. My whole point is in my philosophy, but I apply this to consistently, not just to him but to others. Most of the time, I do not give a damn what he says. Because if he's a federal politician, you talked about narcissism. Name a federal politician who isn't a narcissist. Okay, so
to go through that process,
I don't give a damn what they say. I want to see what they do.
I can name one.
Who?
Jimmy Carter.
Shut up.
He's not. He's not a narcissist.
Okay. He
He's
became
just a good old
governor.
country boy.
Okay. I know, to go through that and to go through that whole process
Richard.
You're doing it because you think I should be the
When
most
you-
powerful
when
man
you-
in the world.
when
Well,
you
that's
believe-
not being narcissist.
when
That-
you
if
believe-
you think you really are the right person.
When you believe
Whoa,
that
whoa,
you
whoa,
should
wait,
be
stop,
the leader
stop,
of 300
stop.
million people, you are
Stop.
somebody a narcissist.
When you believe you should be the most powerful man in the world.
No. If you think that you can actually help someone, then you should be the person in that position to do
That's
it.
not what you just
and that's
said.
what we're saying. No, I don't,
That-
I don't
that's
think
what
anybody
that's what he
thinks that.
did. That's what he believed.
Who?
when
Nobody
he ran.
has
That's
made
what-
it in
that's
federal
what
Everybody
that
who
man
runs
did.
for that
Out of
president,
altruism.
Trump
Yeah.
just believed
That's
that.
right. There's
No, I don't think Trump believed that.
Trump believes that he's the best qualified for the job, and we won't survive without him.
I don't.
You
don't
know
think
that
so.
it's fun. It's funny that you bring that up because there's this, and I don't want to digress too much, but there's this series out called The Boys.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah,
That's a
and
good show.
it deals with the reality of somebody having that much power.
Yeah.
What is really like in the real
Yeah,
world.
but still being a real person.
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
flawed
yeah.
and
But
I
everything
mean,
else. Yeah.
I think-
super flawed. So the belief that a person seek that seat that we all accept, even leaders of the other country said the person who sits in this seat is the most powerful person in the world. If you believe that is done for just true altruism,
Okay, who was the only president that didn't leave a multimillionaire?
who didn't leave?
Technically, I think Obama.
Carter.
No.
Bill
the
Clinton.
Clintons were in debt. And
Yeah,
I think
Obama.
Obama's was broke. Now, as soon as they got out, there were $100 million deals, board of directors.
Yeah,
but
most of them were wealthy before they got there.
Yeah, but I'm talking about now. Well, Clinton and Clinton
Clinton-
supposedly
Clinton
was a
wasn't,
negative,
but
and
Reagan
Obama,
was.
Obama for that book. He said that book,
Obama was
Dreams of My Father, allowed him to pay off his student loans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Obama did not have much
But
money.
Democrats
going
don't have
in.
money.
Yeah.
Now, when they get out, they get put on boards.
They get book deals. They get
book
speaking
engagements.
deals.
That's right.
But but I mean, Jimmy Carter's gone around the world. Does the argument that Jimmy Carter is the best ex-president we've ever had because of Habitat of Humanity?
Well, he was way better as
He was a
ex-president
terrible president.
than he was
I
as
mean, he was a
president.
terrible
right?
president.
But no, I mean, at some point to be that incompetent and to go in that show, you're like, I got this. And I mean, that's who it was. But anyway, moving on, let's go to the Biden administration. What, Gerald, do you expect from the Biden administration?
I believe that he will use executive orders to get most of his legislation done. And to me,
Does that bother you that we've prostituted executive orders to that degree?
yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it should.
That makes him a
because-
dictator.
Yeah,
Well, I
He's
mean,
king.
George W. Bush is the one who did it.
Yeah.
George Bush
Makes him
for
king.
the first time because he used to write. He would put footnotes on them, and he was the first one to really use executive
And then
orders.
Obama took it another
yeah,
step.
that was- yes.
When he did, I think he abused that power.
Yeah.
And
You know,
now Trump is just
I was-
following in that line.
I think because of how he became elected with the African American vote coming out, basically saving his campaign when it was initially.
Whoa,
being-
you mean the primary?
In the
Because
primary.
in the general,
No,
that's
in
a
the primary,
toss-up.
in the primary.
Yeah.
He was dead. If you,
Yeah. No. He was over, and he went there and cut the deal with Clyburn.
Yeah.
so there better be some results, right?
And no,
Well,
well,
he
no.
got the
Yeah,
VP.
let me before you say. I think the number one issue we're looking at police reform. I mean, the results I'm looking for. I want you to be able to deal with police reform. You know, when you say systemic racism, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about. Community investment, I know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know when you say we're going to deal with systemic racism. I really don't understand what are we saying there. You know, we got to talk about opportunities. How do we increase economic opportunities? And so those are the things I'll be looking for. You know, I'll also be looking for him to shore up some things on the healthcare front. You know, there's still some issues that we need to deal with. Whether it can be done by executive order, I don't know. Am I taking up too much time?
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at your watch.
Once again, I can multitask. I'm doing three different topics.
Okay. I mean,
I know you went to Florida State. You're not the smartest person in the world.
It's a lot that I would like to see him get done. I mean, you know.
But what about his cabinet? How would you
Okay,
think?
hang on. There's 4 people here, okay?
Yes.
We're going to go around.
Okay.
I thought we were just talking about his
Improvement.
election.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
It's going to be hard though because the majority in the House.
Okay, I don't want that.
Actually,
I want you, Stephen Nixon, to tell me what you want to see the Biden administration to do.
Oh well, I would. I mean, I don't. What I don't want to see. I want to see him govern to the middle like he said he would.
Okay.
There's progressive elements now that are gaining power in the Democratic Party, and quite
AOC.
yeah that and quite frankly that scares the living daylights out of me because these are avowed socialists. I mean the ideas that some of them have are just nuts.
Okay, well, hang on. Let me interrupt you there.
Truly nutso ideas.
Did Trump govern to the middle?
I think so. I think he governed more conservatively in some ways on domestic policies maybe than others. But look, like with trade and tariffs, I mean, tariffs is not out of the conservative playbook. I mean, that's something out of Bernie Sanders.
It's literally against free market.
Right.
It's a tax.
And so that's what I'm saying. So tariffs is not right.
No.
That's not part of the conservative platform typically. So he was this mix of his foreign policy. It was much more like we were just talking about on the other show about how he did not involve us in foreign as many foreign occupations. He was not your traditional conservative war hawk of the John Bolton ilk with the military industrial side of things. So if you look at all of it on balance, he's a weird mix. The criminal justice reform was highly unpopular, but he did it. Mm-hmm. And so I think on balance, I mean, I think it was pretty centrist on if you balance everything out. But I mean, on some issues he was very conservative, and then on others he wasn't. But again, it's hard because what we were talking about earlier with the negative. It's hard to find people just give honest assessments of Trump because there's so much love.
We're talking
or
about
hate.
Biden. We're on Biden.
All right. But
Yeah.
you
Okay,
asked me
well-
about. But you asked me about Trump.
No, I said Biden administration. Well, no, you're right. Did Trump rule?
Because I
to
said
the
I
middle?
hope that
Yes.
Biden will govern to the middle like he said he would. That's all. That's my
Okay,
hope.
my apologies.
Yeah.
Biden, you went to the cabinet.
Oh, yeah. I think what he's going to do
And I know
is
this.
going to be completely different than anyone has ever done before.
Okay.
He is going to get a bipartisan Republican Democrats mixed in all together into the government.
People have done that before.
Who's done that before?
Most cabinets used to be before the internet. Most people would nominate some minority party into their cabinet. It was expected.
Well, I would want to be, if I was president, I want someone who would disagree with me to give me advice. I want to get the smartest people I can, don't care the party, and I want them not to agree with me. I want them to tell me why I'm wrong.
Did Trump do that?
No.
Okay.
No, Trump did. He
well-
couldn't keep anybody left more than 3
When
months.
they disagreed, they got fired, right?
Yeah, that's right. He couldn't keep them.
Well, no, I mean, my problem is Trump and Bannon walked in with the whiteboard. And there's a photograph. And I mean, look, I'm fine with this. But it always seems, and let me give credit to their late, great Precious Martin. Precious Martin said, we were talking about nomination of judges. And Precious says, I don't want to hear anything about capability. I don't want to hear anything about professionalism, because it's when their turn, they go for the youngest, drinking the Kool-Aid person. And in my belief that Trump ruled for big business, I mean, there were some populist issues like tariffs. But his federal judges, they were not moderate selections,
And they were all white.
yeah, but that's what Republicans do.
But he took away. He's trying to take away health care.
What that's
And that's not in the middle. That's absolutely the
I
word.
literally-
Taking away anything.
I'm fine with that. But what I'm saying is, I don't want Biden to be a unifier, because I agree with AOC. Now I might not agree with her plans. But every time the Democrats seem to be in there, they have to be the nice people. They have to be the unifiers. They have to be, we need to all come together. Republicans, Haley Barbour would step on your neck and say, get out of my way, boy. Daddy's home. And it's the same thing with Trump. Now, some of that's age. Some of that, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think Barack Obama understood government with the supermajority until he lost it. Right. Now, some of that's inexperience, but I can You give any Republican a supermajority, it's over.
See, that's real interesting to hear you say that, because that is exactly the same thing that a lot of my conservative or Republican friends will say is like, Republicans, every time they get up there, they're always nice and conciliatory, and we want them to fight and stuff. And the Democrats, when they have power, they just don't even care. They do it. So I hear conservatives say the exact same thing that you just said, only on the reverse.
With the Obamacare, they conceded to the insurance. To me, it's some of it's practical, but I would challenge any Republican, because big business has got their billions of dollars. I mean, if it was a true progressive stance, when Iceland, which Bob Wedsworth mentioned last week, 2 shows ago, he said when Iceland's bankers committed fraud, they got arrested. Under Obama, not one got arrested. There were more people invading Wall Street. What was it called?
Occupy there was actually a couple arrests, like at Bear Stearns. Not many.
One guy got arrested, pled guilty.
Right.
There were more people convicted of occupying Wall Street than the 2008 mortgage crisis.
Yeah.
Because power concerns, and everybody, if you watch, what was it, Inside Job, the documentary in 2010 to talk about it, when you see these economists from Princeton and Harvard talking about testifying, the banks have bought their books or given them teaching deals or speaking deals.
Oh, of course.
And I mean, what I'm saying is, the Democrats just don't have the money. That's why you don't have people going to jail. I mean, this is what frustrates me about state Republicans. All the public retirement systems, Chicago, Mississippi, all underfunded because of the 2008 mortgage crisis. We could put one in Parchman, just one.
Yeah.
We don't, because, that's just not us. I mean, this is what's weird. I agree we're moving more socialist as a country gets older, which is what countries do. And we have an entitlement issue. I agree with all that. The problem is, under George W. Bush, we've not shrunk the economy, and no one wants to cut the deficit. They want the port going to their people.
Right.
So,
now that's an interesting point right there. Lindsey Graham, and I want you to deal with this. Mm-hmm. As soon as it became apparent that Joe Biden was the president-elect, Lindsey Graham got on TV and he started talking about the deficit. What are we going to do about the deficit? It is starting to be a cyclical thing where when there's a Democrat in office, we need to worry about the deficit. When we have a Republican, I don't hear nothing about the deficit. Yeah. I quite honestly, it's interesting. I forgot all about the deficit discussion because during Obama, that's all we talked about. What are we going to do about the deficit? Now that we have another Democrat about to be president, now we got a deficit problem. So my question is, do the Republicans really view the deficit as a problem, or is it just a political tool?
And let me say this. We need a conservative party to come in power every now and then.
Yeah, just kind of put the brakes on a little bit.
But we haven't had that for 20 years.
Yeah, but they haven't.
But that is a criticism of your harder line conservatives on domestic economic policy. Just take Rand Paul, for example. He hated the budgets that Trump put forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, and every year he hates these budgets that Republicans vote for because he's like, look at all of this spending. So there are Republican voices that notice that even in the but you're right that they're a little softer. They're not as loud.
I didn't hear it.
When there's a Democrat now wanting to spend more.
Now they want to talk about
George
it.
W. Bush spent a boatload of money.
Yeah.
He was not a traditional conservative that way. Trump is like Trump on the stimulus bills, like the most recent stuff with Pelosi and them, where Trump's saying, do the bigger number. I don't care. Let's pass it.
Not anymore.
He was not worried about spending. So, but
he is now. Obviously,
Lindsey, I was like,
before the election, he's like, spend the money, right?
Right.
Well, no, but the thing about it is, it's Obama during the 2008 mortgage crisis. He could not hit $1 trillion. It was a $700 or $800 million package.
That's right.
And in my opinion,
787.
they started backtracking, like the black farmer settlement. They were trying to find backdoor ways to put money in the economy. That was not a stimulus package.
Right.
What was the first package we got? $4 trillion.
$4 trillion. Now
And
a lot of that was just liquidity and in lending markets and stuff.
And I'm
or
not
whatever they call it.
criticizing it, but it was so much, like with federal unemployment and things like that. It literally brought down bankruptcies in the state of Mississippi. And
Well, you think he's going to have to do it again under the Biden administration because of the virus? Is it going to happen
God,
again?
Yeah.
please no.
I think it is.
I think there should have been one, but it's politics. Pelosi
Right.
didn't want to give one before October, but
If she was smart, she should have done it under. If they were smart, they'll still do it under Trump. You don't want to come in.
no,
And do it under
Biden. Well, that's the first thing I want to do if I'm Biden: get people some money.
Well, but he's going to have to deal with the Republican Senate.
Oh, I
most
understand
likely.
that, but I like that
so
fight.
they're going to have you. But
I
I'm
like
with
that
you.
fight.
They're going to have to make concessions to get it through the Senate.
Dude,
Yes.
I would do it. I would. All that. This echoes to me. This echoes to me. It's just like the original stimulus package under Obama. It was good for the country, but the Republicans beat him over the head with it. I mean, it was great for the country, but he was savage, and it's history repeating itself.
Actually, America made money based on that because he bought stock in companies
Yeah.
that went up, and they actually made money on those investments.
But
But the
you're not
messenger.
buying anything. Now, what I would like to see is a stimulus package with infrastructure.
I would too.
Because, I mean, we
I
haven't
would
had
too.
an infrastructure bill since the 30s.
If you're going to
Instead of
spend
just
that
giving
kind of
away
money, that's the
yes.
way to create jobs.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is that, and when you were talking about spending and deficits and or just the national debt, you know, one of the things that guys like Rand Paul and others, they're always talking about just the vast sums of money that we give away. Like I just remember one as an example, you know, where we were given we gave $50 million to just for Nigeria for them to be able to educate people on how to use Facebook. It was some ridiculous amount of money. And you look at that stuff and you go, I mean, I think most Republicans, like me, I'm mostly conservative. I don't mind as much the government spending more money if they invest it here. You know, if the money go, it's like that return air vent. I explained this to some of my friends who are sometimes, the government isn't taking our tax dollars and throwing them in big bins and burning them. It's coming in and then being pumped back out, right? Well, the more we, just give away to foreign countries and stuff like that, I don't think that's xenophobic.
But aren't
I
they
think
the future consumers of American goods?
Well, that's
Isn't
the
that
argument.
an investment
But
for
you-
an
you-
American?
but
Well,
what I'm
that's
saying,
the
is
argument,
that an
but-
investment? Okay,
Yeah.
but let me ask you this. Out of $1, every dollar you make, what is the percentage of taxes the government should take? If you were running the world or running the United
It
States.
depends what you get. For
No,
instance,
no.
Yeah, it
It's not-
does.
You can't,
It
I'm
absolutely.
asking you, if you're sitting there running the government, what is the number?
It depends on whether, like,
so you would
if you
give
have
me
universal
100%.
health
You
care.
would give me 100%.
No, listen. If you had universal health care, that is money
90%.
you're saving.
Would you give me 90%?
No, I think 50% is right.
Okay.
If they give you other benefits, you
Well,
pay for what you get.
I understand
So you
that.
said 50%.
What's your number?
If you get corresponding services.
Yeah,
back.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, what if every dollar you're setting our tax rate right now, you're a tax commissioner of the IRS.
All right.
What is the number that you want from your dollar?
The number I want.
Percentage of tax that comes out of your dollar of your
Well,
pay.
what you want is zero.
You're setting the policy. You're in charge of
Okay.
the United States setting the policy. What's the number?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. Because I don't know exactly the context of what we're talking about.
I'm talking about this is the money we have. We're talking about entitlements getting out of running out of control.
Okay.
And at some point we have to, or do y'all disagree that we have to tax and spend or give us the benefits that we can afford? Because right now we're spending like drunken sailors.
What I'm saying is, let's suppose you take away the expense of health insurance.
You're chopping the table.
Oh yeah, then you would want to pay. Thank you. Then you want to pay more taxes. It's reasonable.
I don't want to pay more taxes.
I know, but I'm just telling you, it's a reasonable.
But what I'm saying is, okay, we've all had taxes. We've seen high taxes, low taxes. And for those who do not know, bonuses are where most attorneys get hit the most, when we get a bonus.
Oh yeah, because you just got to write a check right off the top.
Yeah, well, it's 50% on
Yeah.
bonuses. So you have to be careful not to get a bonus off of anything you do.
Right.
There's ways to structure it, but it sounds stupid that we have to. I've given bonuses and have people ask me to pay them in 10% commission. Commission and bonus are different. So I've had to have this conversation, but to me, do you agree that we're spending too much on entitlements as Americans?
What do you mean entitlements?
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
I think it needs to be overhauled
Student loans.
and actually fixed.
Yeah.
And for instance, if Social Security was allowed to use part of that money and invest it, then we wouldn't have a Social Security problem.
Hell no. We would have a 2008 crisis and those people.
No. Actually,
you
the
just
stock
talk
market
about
would double.
You're talking about privatizing Social Security.
No, I'm talking about the federal government takes 20% of Social Security money and invests that into investments.
And then you would destroy the market. It would be the largest mutual fund in the history of the world.
And the stock market would double. Things would. I mean, they're going to buy stocks. They're going to buy companies.
Okay, so all those people, they looked at this, and there was a big rise, which I think that's where Gerald's going. And then the crisis happened in 2008, and people, we still have not recovered from our public retirement system in the 2008 crisis.
And
some of that's population
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay, do you agree we have too many entitlements?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes, that one. Yeah, I mean, you look at the entitlement programs that we have, and you look at our population. The entitlement society is becoming bigger than the actually working society. So we're
It's unsustainable.
It's
Yeah.
unsustainable,
And that's the downfall of every major society, is that they eat cake, they have too many parties, where we're talking about the Roman empires and people have been talking about, and I completely agree with that. But my problem is, to get it under control, we have to come up with a number.
Yeah.
This is the number we can tax, and this is the number we have to live within our tax, and these are the entitlements. I'm not saying which entitlement policy should be gone, but to me, 40%. That everybody should get 40% taken out of their check, and we need to.
Gosh, that's a lot.
It's really not, though. When you look at state, you're paying close to 40 right now.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's way too much. Because here's the one thing. I mean, now I like the way our tax code is. What do they call it? It's a graduated scale.
Gradual.
Where because taking 40 cents out of a dollar from someone who's making $40,000 is way different than taking 40 cents out of a dollar from someone making $4 million. It's completely different.
But the problem is with the 4 million, and 4 million might be low.
I totally misunderstood your question when you was asking it originally. I thought you were asking, when we look at the investment, when you're talking about the entitlement and investment.
But it is.
Okay.
But okay. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but what I'm saying is, it is an investment. I don't think the federal government's burning my paper, but I also understand the federal. Look, when I was on student loans, which are welfare, I thought I was working hard by going to law school.
Right.
And then I got a real job.
Yeah.
And I thought I was working hard as an employee. Then I opened my firm.
But there are certain entitlements that aren't investment, like unemployment benefits. I'll never see that thing unless Richard.
Oh, you won't tell him now?
I'll wait till later.
Something you want to tell me, but right. that's money coming. So
or Medicaid,
and stuff like that.
But what I'm saying, but the theory is that's an investment, so those people won't come rob us.
Yeah, so that's why I was That's why we were confusing the heck out of me. I was like, how is that an investment? But actually, that's just money being taken.
Well, I disagree with that. Having a safety net for our citizens, I do believe, is
the Great
an investment.
Depression didn't have one.
Correct.
Right.
And that way, and those people have a second chance, and they have have a moment to recatch themselves instead of getting evicted.
That safety net is worth, to me, anywhere between 25 to 30%.
But you're just okay. But what I'm talking about, Medicare.
I was going to say 20. My number was most people should probably end up paying no more than 20%.
But government expenditures.
And then you get to keep more of your money, and you can. I think use taxes are fine, sales taxes. But you should be able to keep more of your own money and spend it how you wish to.
But last time I researched this, government expenditures were 51%. 51% of every government expenditure was Medicare,
Yep.
Social Security,
Oh,
federal government.
In Mississippi, it's the same. I mean, you look at the pie chart for Mississippi, Medicaid is half of the pie.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Medicare, Social Security, defense. That's 51 cents on every dollar we spend as the federal government. And I always ask people, which one are we getting rid of? Because we all agree we have too much entitlements. We all agree that, we need to do this, or we need to cut this, or we don't need to do all this. And look, Bernie Sanders, his chairman said we answered that question wrongly about universal health care. We should have just said Netherlands, Sweden.
Yeah, how would they do it?
Or how they're doing it.
Right.
He says a greater tax, but you get a better return on it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You pay for what you get for.
But the problem is there's so many abuses. Like, we can't even get I understand if you're a billionaire, it's easier to make money because you have more assets. And at some point, the stock exchange, it's not Bill Gates' fault he's worth, or it's not
Warren Buffett.
Buffett's. It's the way the market works and the way tech companies work. But it's easier for them to make money. It's easier for Amazon to make money than mom and pop store. So I think they should be a graduated tax. But on top of that, I'd be okay with somewhat of a semi-flat tax if we just get rid of the tax shelters.
Yeah.
We haven't had one conservative walk in there and say, I don't want any tax holes.
So Trump would have to pay more than $750.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you say that,
Come on, now, he already did.
yeah.
That was not true.
Why won't he show his taxes?
because you and I both know, because he didn't pay any money.
And
I'm fine
he's
with
not
that.
a billionaire. Those are the two reasons
And
I
he
think.
told-
Yeah, I think that's
And he
why.
told-
I don't think he has as much as.
No.
I think he has a lot of real property holdings and
That
stuff,
he's
but I don't
indebted
know that
like
he has a lot of
crazy
cash.
for it.
Well, let's go ahead, Gerald.
And he's told us we were going to see those tax
Any
returns
day.
for any day
Yeah,
over the last
over
4 years.
and the new healthcare
for 4 years, he did tell
Yeah.
us that.
But we all do. I do this. I maximize my expenses.
Yeah.
I minimize this legally. With it, my CPA does this. I minimize my income as much as I can to shrink my tax liability within the rules that are governed by by the IRS and the Fed.
Yeah.
We all do that. I don't criticize him for exploiting the system. He'd be stupid.
Well, it's not exploitation.
Yeah.
It's just working within
It
the system.
depends. It depends. If he overvalues property,
Sure, yeah.
That's
You-
what
Well,
I. That's what I
fraud.
think.
No,
he's
that's
doing. That's
fraud.
fraud. That's fraud.
But I don't think he's committing fraud because he's not charged with fraud. I think he's got tax attorneys who are doing very well, putting money over here, putting money over here, and it's unpopular, but the tax code allows you to do it.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with. Once again, he's Ric Flair. If you have a problem with Ric Flair using the steel chair, don't have the steel chair.
Yeah, move the chair. Well, one thing I was going to say, like I feel like on some of these, it's an easy solution, like Social Security, for example, and even Medicare. I want to say if you just raise the age limit by 2 years.
In 1933, when it was passed, people lived to be died at 60,
Right.
and they got it at 65.
Right. So I think they've got to raise the age, but that is a wildly controversial position. I mean, I don't know why, but you start talking about raising it to 70, and heck, I mean,
But what if
there are
you
people who get
invested
fighting
that
mad about
and
that.
it grew,
You
and
can't
you
put
don't?
it in the market; it will crash.
I'm not saying. I say diversify. Not all stocks, not all everything, but actually
That
invest.
idea right there is actually the idea that laid the sledgehammer to the second term of George Bush's presidency. When W. Bush tried to privatize,
He got elected.
No, he got elected. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about his popularity.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they've had to do more with the mortgage crisis.
Yeah. Well, that came in on the second half of his first. But the first half of his second term, he tried to privatize Social Security. And the second half, the mortgage crisis came in and wiped them out.
And I'm not saying privatize all of it. I'm saying a portion of it.
Yeah, let them
A
diversify.
portion.
One of the reasons is a theory, which I don't know economics well enough. One of the reasons we have not had inflation, because at some point we keep on printing money, inflation's coming, is because
It's coming.
Every year you have more investable income from China, from India, and that's one of the things that is keeping us from having inflation. But changing things, we want to hit a couple things. We got to wrap up. SB versus Hyde Smith. Any shock?
No. Actually, the shock was that he actually lost by a higher percentage he did last time. And the only reason I'm guessing is because the voter turnout was higher.
Oh, yeah. I'm not shocked at all. Trump's coattails.
Any shock?
Yeah, no shock. I'm kind of with Richie. I thought maybe the margins on SB it would be a little bit closer, but no shock that she won. I think it was pretty assured.
Medical marijuana passed. Any shock? Any
no shock for me, and I'm not ashamed to say I voted for it and for 65 because I can't imagine why we would refuse to give a terminal cancer patient a substance that might make them feel better in their last days. Why would you say no to that? And I think, and this passed overwhelmingly. I'm really glad of this. It passed 70-30, and so there's a clear. So for elements in the legislature and others, I respect their position. And all of that, but they cannot deny that the people of Mississippi, in a big way, want this. And it's like, look, whether you like it or not, this is you have to go with the will of the people. Concern about marijuana is on the wane. My generation and under, regulate it, keep it out of the hands of kids, and don't let people commit crimes. But as far as concern about the substance being dangerous and needing to stay illegal, that concern is on the wane.
And,
I think it should be.
That's an interesting question because the Biden presidency is going to legalize it nationwide. And can he do that by executive order? And because that's going to happen because all the banks and these credit card companies
it's a booming industry, but they can't deposit the money in the bank.
No, and they're losing money, and so they want it to happen.
Right.
So the question is, can he do that by executive order? That's an interesting question to me. I don't know the answer to that.
Gerald, surprised?
Absolutely not. And I believe you're looking at the future of how we're going to get things done in America. I think people are going to put certain issues on the ballot so the people can tell the legislature directly how they feel about an issue. So they're going to stop the interpretation through your elective, and we're going to start having the people tell you through ballot issues. Future of new way of governing in America is coming.
Well, I think we've covered everything. It's been a good 2 hours. We thank Gerald for dropping by.
Oh, man. Look, it was fun. Happy to meet you. It was.
Who are you talking to?
To his viewers. To his
fans.
I mean, no, I'm talking to the fans.
The Richie and Hazz Show.
The fans of the Richie and Hazz Show. Look, man, I'm glad you guys have me
For
here.
those who want to hear more of Gerald, what time do y'all go on WNPR?
We are on at 8 in the morning at the Richard Schwartz Show. Richard is the host. Along with me and Cedric Walker.
Now, are y'all going to do a sports show? Is that still in negotiations?
Yeah, well, the station has approached us about doing a Saturday sports show. Where it looks like it's in the works. We haven't had our format put together, but it'll be a Saturday morning kickoff show.
And if people want to call you about some legal work, how do they call you, sir?
Call us at 601-9 and all 8s at Schwartz and Associates.
Stephen, how do people get hold of you?
Sure. My name is my name is.
That's okay. Dementia.
I started looking at it. I looked at the camera. All right. My name is Stephen Nixon. My number is 601-925-4700. I do real estate, chancery stuff like wills and estates. If I can help.
And Richie?
Oh, it's easy. 601-9 and all 8s. I'm Richie Schwartz, Schwartz and Associates. We're here to help you.
Are you?
Yes, he is, Brent.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we are.
I know Gerald is.
I'm at the office every day.
Oh, okay, really?
Whoa, I'm at the office more than you are, Gerald.
Whoa.
I'm looking for you during the day.
Let me go ahead and end this argument. Gerald is actually one of the hitters Richie uses on complex cases. He gives
Gerald's a very
a lot of
smart
time,
guy.
but
He's a
solves
very
lot
smart
of
guy.
issues. And if you can call me, 601-977-5253. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.
All right.